Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. Topeka, Kansas tends to make the news just every once in a while, not always in a positive way, and I had to laugh about this one. So the Wall Street Journal, of course, has wonderful art. Yes, this is Wall Street Journal, last Saturday. And this is actually an article about cottage style. And there's kind of a Gen Z take on cottage style and an older, more classic, traditional take on cottage style. And so they're talking about this quilt, particular quilt. And the young generation person who is describing this quilt is saying, oh, that quilt is so meta. And it's perfect because it comes from Topeka, Kansas, the heartlands, a plain state, the country. I could be making an assumption, of course. Someone in Topeka is probably saying, this is a city, you idiot. So I'm just telling you, we are a city in the country. All right. A couple of other things I just want to tell you about. We get calls and emails fairly frequently, actually, about weight of fabric. They mean in ounces. And sometimes we know what that is on a fabric, but it's pretty rare. And it's usually referencing maybe something like denim or linen, never knits or silks or cottons or whatever. But I did notice that in the Q&A section of this latest Threads magazine, which is summer of 2022, number 218, if you'll go to the back of the magazine, it's an article about matters of weight, and it does give you some information about what this all means and how the industry handles weight. And it does admit in this article that you're not going to hear about it very much except with the fabrics that I've just mentioned. But if you're curious about that, here's a really great article, and it's really the first time I've ever seen it explained so that I can actually understand it. So there you go, referencing Threads magazine. So this is the May launch of our Sew Confident project, which is the Edgewater skirt. Here it is. This is a really, really fun skirt. It's a download pattern now. It will be print at some point, but as you know, printing is hung up at the moment a little bit. But it has four pattern pieces and 5 things that you cut out. 2 top panels that attach to a waistband, and then there's a side panel and a bottom panel. And we chose to do it in this little stripe, black and white stripe, because first of all, it goes with everything, and it just shows off all the connections and intersecting of these stripes and these sections on the skirt. So I know you're going to like this. The pattern is also a dress, which you will see later, but I wanted to show you the kinds of things you can wear with it and why the black and white stripe works so well. So this is Erin's beautiful Eureka top in the red rib. And of course, who doesn't like black and white and red? I think this is fantastic. I think of all the t-shirts that we have, there are 2. The Noto tee is a nice shape with it because it does peg a little bit at the hips, so that accentuates, I think, how this, you have a wider shape at the shoulder, it comes in a little bit at the waist, and then you have this shape below the waist. But I like the idea of the pink, which is the color of the season. I like the idea of pink with the black and white. The other t-shirt pattern that I think is nice with it is the ET. And I purposely pulled this one out because I think you can think about mixing some patterns. And normally I think about changing scale on pattern mixing, where this is a small stripe, I might go with a larger pattern on the top. But in this case, I kept the scale the same, and I really like it. They're both geometric. So it's not like I added flowers to this or another bold stripe, but I like this little check sort of affair kind of on the diagonal. So this is the ET, and it also has a nice shape to it at the waistline, flares just a little bit at the hip. And of course you can make it short sleeve or long sleeve or whatever. So don't be afraid to try some pattern mixing with the little stripe. The cottage shirt is a wonderful summer shirt. Deep hem to it, about a 6-inch hem with slits on the side, nice sleeve band, and a collar and stand, and a yoke. So this is sort of the grown-up version of a camp shirt, and this is its little sister. This is the 9 Live shirt, and I think it has the characteristics very much of a cottage shirt, but it takes away all the elements that take up the time to make a garment. This has a simple collar without a stand. It doesn't have the armbands. It doesn't have the deep hems, doesn't have a yoke. So, you know, both shirts, though, are short, and you notice that everything that I showed with this skirt is a little bit shorter. I think that you don't want to wear something super long and super drapey with this. I think as short as you can wear for your body type is going to be better. So those are just some nice colors, solid colors, a little bit of a geometric that you can wear with the skirt. So we have a special offering this week. We're bundling some things. We're bundling the skirt kit in the black and white jersey along with the monthly class of how to make the skirt and the pattern. And all of those are for a price of $149.99 or $146.99. Thank you very much. So you get all 3 of those. Now, if you were to sign up for that today, you would get, we would ship you the kit, which is ready to go. You would get the pattern immediately, and you get a prep letter and an information letter of what you're going to be doing in preparation for the class. And then this Friday, the actual video class launches, and you would get that also as part of the package. So think about that. It's a really good buy, and hopefully you'll like that. All right. Well, you know, we're in the fabric business, and I've been in the fabric business for a long, long time. I'm not even going to tell you how long. And there's a lot of great fabric out there, but every once in a while, a fabric comes along and it starts to make your heart palpitate. And it's pretty rare, actually, but I'm going to show you one that made that happen for me. And we're calling it the French market fabric. This is, I don't know, there's something about this that is charming and beautiful and so special and unique. But it does have a figure of a lady who's shopping at the market, the watermelons, the oranges, the lettuce, and maybe it's my interest in drawing, and it seems like a lot of urban sketchers are drawing outdoor markets these days, but I love the colors, I love the style. And it's interesting to me that while this is a large scale in terms of size of motif and repeat, there's something about this, though, that is not that bold, hardcore colorway that makes this large print seem so large. So I love it. So we made a couple of things in it. We made what I have on, which is the Ikina jacket that's been lengthened 9 inches. And let's see, the pockets are in the pattern. Yeah, it's just like the pattern, it's just longer. And then we also made a gardenia dress, both of which I think are really appropriate patterns for this fabric. This gardenia dress is a little bit shorter than the pattern. Jenny Atwood from Lawrence, Kansas made this, and she's a little bit shorter. So, but you can tell that this is a great summer dress. So when I put this on, I thought, okay, where am I going to wear this? Well, there are so many places, I'm not even sure I can mention them all. Well, first of all, it could be a fantastic robe. You could make a belt, and wear it as your summer robe. But as I came into the studio today, Erin said, "Oh, you look like you're going on vacation." So this is the kind of thing that I would take with me someplace to wear. Beach wear, cocktail party wear, garden party wear, shower, wedding shower, maybe even the right wedding, maybe an outdoor wedding, summer wedding, daytime wedding, that sort of thing. But I also think it's something that I can wear absolutely around the house and feel super comfortable. So how do you decide what you're going to put with things like this in terms of color? Well, of course, the most obvious thing is to actually take a look at the print and say, okay, there are various colors here that I can pull out. That's a given, and I think that's what most of us think about and work with. But I'm going to talk about a lot of other things that you can do to help you find some interesting color schemes. So this morning, I had my tote bag in front of a painting in my kitchen, and I put it there so that I would remember to bring the painting from my kitchen because it was a really unique color scheme. Well, of course, I have my tote bag and forgot the painting. But paintings are an interesting way to think about new color schemes. So for instance, this is a very classic Matisse painting of a lady in a hat. And what struck me about it is, here are these beautiful, cool tones of aqua, turquoise, blues, navy blue, and so forth, but it's popped with oranges and yellow oranges and a little bit of peach and pink. And so even though you might not like these kinds of colors, these warmer tones, sometimes you can say to yourself, well, you know, I could wear turquoise with blue, and then maybe I pop it with a belt or a scarf or a bracelet of orange or some other color. So take a look at the paintings that are around your own home. You have bought them for a reason. You probably have been attracted to the colors, but I bet if you look at them a little bit deeper, you'll find that they work because there's usually some sort of contrasting opposite color that is in the painting that makes it speak to you. So paintings are one thing. I like going to paint stores and picking up their free brochures. And they always have pictures of beautiful interiors, and then they have pulled out the paint colors that work with that scheme. So here's a paint scheme that is that beautiful chartreuse green, but they've put it with a putty color. Now that's not a color that I would think of normally. If I was going to do the lime chartreuse green, I might be thinking about putting it with other pastels or just white because I couldn't think of anything else to do. But that putty color is interesting, and I would not have thought of that had I not gotten the free paint card. There are lots of associated businesses like the floral business. Here's a woman who takes a photo of an interior and replicates it in flowers. So those colors are drawn from this small painting of an interior or a photograph of an interior, and she's used it to design and choose the colors for her floral arrangement. We can do the same thing for the colors that we're going to work with for that print fabric that we're highlighting. I love looking at pictures of interiors. I'm an old interior designer. I'm a former interior designer. So one of my favorite magazines is Vogue Living, not the one from the US, but the one from Australia. The photography in this magazine is out of this world. And whether you're interested in redoing your interiors or not is of no consequence, but the photography in this is I'm trying to find one that's really incredible. So, you know, beautiful interiors. Well, even the ads can show you something, and particularly food ads I have found. So here's an ad for, what is this an ad for? Oh, for smoked salmon. Interesting. I've never seen an ad for smoked salmon. I thought it was going to be an ad for the dish. But okay, so the smoked salmon is on the dish. The smoked salmon obviously is that beautiful tangerine orange, and then they've put that on a blue-purple plate. Would I have done that? I don't know, but it's beautiful. And then, excuse me, on top of that is your green lettuce, your onion. And so let's say you put together that, you had a print with some of those colors, or even if you were just wearing solid colors, maybe some blue-purple pants, kick it with an orange top, and you might think, well, I'll put on my jewelry, but I better put on my silver jewelry. Well, look at that. They have put gold-toned silverware with it. So think about using your brass or gold, notice I say brass, or your gold jewelry. Brass jewelry is back in, by the way. So that's a different take on a color scheme like this, is just the shade or tone of the jewelry that you put with it. But think about magazines for interiors. So a couple years ago, I put together a tutorial that I had probably the most fun putting together of any tutorial I've ever put together. And it's a PDF tutorial. It's a 61-page tutorial called Storyboard. And one of the concepts that I presented in the tutorial was to start with a photograph of something. And this is a starting point for an ensemble that I put together. So this was the cover, actually, of Anthology magazine, which is no longer in print, which is too bad. Now, would I ever want to live in this interior? No. But I was struck by the interesting play of motifs that's going on in here and textures. So you have the two tones of green, the yellow green and the more blue green. You have this funny cactus right here that's very textured, and some kind of a hat, pink hat sitting on top of it. The table or the cactus have the little red, pinkish, coral color flowers on it. And then take a look at this geometric rug. So I pulled out some fabrics that I thought kind of felt like that. And I found a stripe that reminded me of the rug. A couple of colors of linen, the yellow green and the darker color. I found a white knit, had kind of a raised cable texture to it, but a very textured knit. Looked like the cactus to me. And then I pulled out that coral color that was the hat or the flowers on the cactus. So I had my color scheme. So then I got out my book that you can buy. You can buy these books, and they are full of pages that have what's called croquis. There's the word, croquis. And the croquis is, by the way, they say it rhymes with hokey if you don't know how to pronounce it. And I know you're not going to be able to see this because they're very pale. But every page has a very faint form, body form on it. Can you even see this?
I'm going to get closer and see if I can, a little bit now.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. I have a better one here. So I took one of the pages out and I cut up the fabrics, and I started to play with how I was going to use the fabrics. And I just cut little strips of fabric to decide whether the solid was going to be the top, or if I was going to do a striped top or striped pants. There's a little better picture of what one looks like on a page. So you can buy these books. They're really interesting. If you're like me, I can't draw a figure. I can't draw people. I can't draw people, horses, dogs, and flowers very well. But for sure people. So actually, I think Erin helped me with this. She was able to draw on her computer, which I also can't do.
That's by hand.
This is by hand?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm impressed. Really, that's quite good. At any rate, she helped me draw the garments on top of these croquis, and you may have even done the fabrics. I can't really remember whether it was you or me, but whoever, it's a great idea to try to get a sense of proportion and relationship of the fabrics that you have and how to use them. Erin was also able to take the styles of garments that we had settled on, and whenever we hand out a pattern to you, there's always a technical illustration. And you can take that technical illustration and blow it up on a printer, and then you can either color it in by hand with some color pencils, or you could actually take a photograph of the fabric that you think you want to use and put that photograph within the technical. So you get a real sense of how it's going to work together. So you can do a lot of work, even with colored pencils and even hand drawing, before you ever commit to laying that pattern tissue on the fabric and cutting it out and hoping for the best. So the ensemble got made, and we decided to use the stripe for the pants. This was a horizontal stripe on the cross grain of the bolt. We turned it, cut the pants on the cross grain so that the stripe would be vertical. This is the Valencia pants pattern, so there's no side seam, so you don't have to deal with placing those stripes all that much, although this, I do remember putting one stripe where a pleat on a pant would be. So that was kind of my centered pleat stripe. This is an ET in the textured knit. And then here is the 9 lives in the green linen. Notice the difference here. The 9 lives is shorter. You can lengthen it, but it is a shorter pattern. And I have the feeling this particular ET might have been shortened just a little bit, but I honestly can't remember. But you get this relationship of proportion here, which was worked out in those croquis. I think settled on this one right here in the middle. Or here it is. So that's how it was determined that we wanted to see a little bit of that ET, striped pants, green top. Now, what about my little cactus color or hat color? Well, there's always shoes. You know, there are shoes that pull in a color. No, that color is not in here, but I know it works because I saw it on paper. Or if you're a scarf person, you can throw a little color around and pull that in. Or it could be a piece of jewelry, it could be a necklace or a bracelet or something like that. So a lot of inspiration can come to you from a lot of different places. I tend to collect images and keep them in a notebook. For instance, here's a beautiful picture of a bird, and here are some fabrics that kind of look like what that could be. Some pictures of some garment combinations that I really liked. Actually, this was Brianna's idea, now that I think about it. Whenever I see something that's just attractive, here's a food picture that I thought was really beautiful. Here's the picture of an interior. And I actually took this a little step further, where I pulled out my handy dandy sketchbook, made a copy of that picture, and pulled out some fabric. So there's the color of the sofa. Here's the color of just that little green plant. You know, you can't overlook just every little thing. I thought that these knit fabrics had a relationship to this parquet floor. And then this color is just the pop of accent color. This never got made, or did it? Yes, it did, actually. It did. I remember this now. And the reason I know that, it's in that tutorial. So these garments got made. I have no idea where they are. They must be in the vault. But that's where it started, was a photo of an interior. So put a bulletin board up in your sewing room. Make it a mood board. Find images that you like, put them on there. Find little bits of fabric that you love, you just haven't worked it out yet as to what to go with it. Put it up there, and you can add and edit and change and all of that. But if you don't get it out and see it and look at it, if you're like me, it's going to sit in that drawer or that cabinet, and you're never going to use it. So let's get little bits of those fabrics out and live with them for a while. All right, so I want to show you what I did pull out to go with this beautiful French market fabric. First of all, this is a beautiful rayon challis. So there's a lot of drape to it. It's just the classic challis. I wish I could tell you where I got this, and I'm not supposed to. We were sworn to secrecy. This is a very high-end designer from Italy, and that's all I can tell you because we are not supposed to share who it's from. So I'm not doing that. But I can guarantee you that it is a singular fabric. You're not going to find it anyplace else. We got all that there was, and I've been sitting on this for just a little while just to make sure we made the right thing, and I think we absolutely did. We started with the Gardenia, which we really liked, and then made the Ikina 2 jacket. I have on the ET in a cotton knit, and then the Hudson pants in the viscose linen. So I have those fabrics. Here's my t-shirt. And here are my pants. So I let this be a little more dominant. And these are, we're doing more tonal things or matching things. We're seeing that a lot more than we used to. I sort of grew up in the era of you make a pair of pants and you wear something with it that's not the same color. Or you make a skirt and you make a top that's not the same color. But that's kind of out the window for the moment. We're doing a lot of things that are tonal, similar in color, if not the same color. For instance, when Erin made this Eureka top, she made a skirt in exactly the same fabric. Now she changed directions of the little rib just to change it up a little bit, but it looks fantastic together. So I'm really interested in the idea that we're doing that now. So at any rate, I took a look at this beautiful rayon and decided, okay, pink is sort of obvious, but there are some other beautiful colors to pull out of this. And of course, one of my favorites is the green version of things, my yellow-green. So here, this is a piece of linen. I have my Hudson pants already made out of this fabric, and I can already tell you that this is going to be one of my basic pants. Believe it or not, this is a basic color. You can wear it with so many colors, including any of the colors that are on this wall. But for today, I put it with a viscose jersey, viscose and spandex. So this is a jersey, and very lightweight, perfect t-shirt weight, has a nice drape, so it has a little bit of weight to it. And this is I don't know how many ounces of linen, but this is like 5 or 7 ounces or whatever it is, the classic bottom weight linen. Then we have sort of this coral pink tonal, pulling out the oranges, literally oranges. And this is the viscose linen. This is the same fabric that I have on in the pink, but it's in this beautiful coral color. We call this Orangina, one of my favorite drinks. But I like putting this with a little hotter pink. We call this sweet pink. This is a cotton knit. Cottons are just so comfortable to wear, easy to sew. Of all the categories of knits to sew, the cotton knits are the easiest, I think, to sew. And then this is the same viscose linen that I have on as well. Turquoise color. We've been carrying this fabric in various colors for a few years now, and it's the kind of fabric that we always have. The colors change, they come and go. In fact, my favorite color has just been discontinued, but there'll be something else coming in its place. But we always have it, and we can generally always get it. So if we run out of these, we'll probably reorder so on and so forth. But nevertheless, it's one of those great transitional fabrics. For me, it goes through a lot of seasons. I have darker colors that I can wear in the fall and winter. I have lighter colors that I can wear in the spring and summer. So to me, it's a fairly universal, all-purpose, all-season fabric. So then I've put it with this viscose knit that we call fresh turquoise. So this is turquoise, this is fresh turquoise. I love it how Betsy comes up with these names. So these are some colors that I think really work beautifully, including the pink that I have on with this fabric. So if you'd like, if you want to punch this fabric with something, maybe you want to make pants in the turquoise, and maybe you want to make a 9 lives or a cottage shirt in this. You don't want a long, oversized piece. I think this would be fantastic for a smaller garment as well. Make your coral pants and pop it with the pink. Make your green pants and pop it with the yellow green. So those are our fabrics. There are a couple of things I want to talk to you about just sewing this particular fabric, because this is so lightweight. You want to use thread that is lighter weight. So that would be 60 weight. The traditional thread that we use, cotton thread, is 50 weight. 60 weight is lighter. I've never quite gotten that. But we carry it, and whenever someone orders a fabric in this category, we always send them, and they order thread, then we always send them thread that is 60 weight. And it comes on the green spool. This is Metler thread, all cotton, lightweight thread. And I also use really fine needles. So this is a 65/9 millimeter needle. So you want to lighten everything. The lighter the fabric, the lighter the equipment that you're going to use. So for this particular promotion this week, we are selling this fabric in 3-yard pieces. And then with that, you get the thread for free. You get a pack of 5 needles of the 65/9 millimeter needles for free. Plus, you get the 61-page storyboard tutorial. So all of that will come with your 3-yard order of this fabric. On the Gardenia dress, there is a tie that is a tube of fabric. And this is the tool that I recommend that you use. It's a ballpoint bodkin. We talk about this in the directions, actually. But it has a little ball at one end and an eye at the other end. And you simply sew your fabric with the right sides together and sew this to the eye of this, and then, am I thinking of this correctly? Yes. You stick this down into the tube. I did a demonstration of this about a month ago on camera, and I failed. So I'm choosing to leave it in the package for today. But I'm telling you, this is the coolest tool. Anyway, by the time you stick the ball end of this down into the tube and take the fabric up and over this, it's the easiest way to turn endless tubes of fabric. So don't forget to order a ballpoint bodkin if you don't have one. It's an inexpensive tool. I had one for years, had no idea what it was, and somewhere along the line someone taught me how to use it, so it's fantastic. But if you order so we have 2 patterns. We have the Gardenia dress pattern, the Ikina 2 pattern, and the 3 yards will work for either one of these patterns. So 3 yards is the magic number. That is part of the order today. So any questions?
Yes. What size of Ikina 2 are you wearing?
I am probably wearing a small. I honestly can't remember, but I would think I would be a small in it.
And are there any changes to the pattern? Somebody noted that the piping isn't in there. Is there any other?
Right, no, just lengthened 9 inches. No other. In fact, the piping was part of the tutorial from last year, but it's not part of the pattern. So this is following the pattern exactly. It's just longer. No? Well, maybe I'm wrong.
The piping is in the fabric, so I remember the layout.
It's in the
Or in the pattern.
It is in the pattern. Never mind. Okay.
Would the French market fabric make a nice pair of West End pants?
Oh yeah, fabulous West End pants.
So I think the yardage goes for, you know,
Yeah,
so many
that
patterns.
3 yards because of the repeat, and you're going to want to place things a little bit. You're going to need that 3 yards for pretty much whatever you make.
Somebody mentioned the longer Ikina would look nice over an E dress in
Yes,
any
it
of the
would.
solid colors. I like that idea.
Yeah, it would be good. That's an Erin idea.
Love that. Sounds like a resort wear. Is the 9 Lives pattern on sale this week?
The 9 Live patterns is not on sale this week. No, just the Gardenia, the Ikina, the ET, and the Hudson, right? I'm not sure about that. I think that's right because I have it on.
And Betsy's included the link to all the sale items, so
Okay,
that's
okay.
a great place to find that out. She's always so good about including all the links. Trying to figure out what this question relates to. It says, so does the fabric lay differently when you cut it on the cross grain? Maybe when you were talking about the stripe fabric?
Well,
Or I'm not sure.
yeah, you have to evaluate a piece of fabric, and you can stand in front of a mirror. You can hold the fabric lengthwise, see how it drapes. You can turn it and hold it crosswise and see how it drapes. Most wovens, not much different. Obviously, there's a difference in things that have spandex in them and knits that stretch in certain ways. So you do have to take a look at it and evaluate it. But there are a lot of fabrics, more than you probably ever think about, that can be cut on the cross grain. It generally saves fabric. Of course, the minute I say that, you're going to choose the pattern that it won't. But generally, it saves fabric to cut on the cross grain. And that's always a backup for me. If I'm short on fabric for something, I just love this fabric and I want to make this pattern, and I might try to lay it out on the cross grain and see if I can get it out of it. Single layer also saves fabric. So single layer and cross grain are two things that save fabric.
The croquis sketchbook that you pointed out, what's the brand on that?
I knew somebody was going to ask me that, and for some reason, I don't think this one's labeled.
Does it have a title on the front? What's
No.
that? Oh, okay.
But let's see here. I tell you what, I bought this on Amazon. And so I think if you put into Amazon croquis, CROQUIS, I don't know why there wouldn't be a title on it, but several will come up.
I remember there used to be quite a few on Etsy too.
Yeah.
When we were doing that tutorial.
Yeah, for some reason this does not have a label.
And can you repeat the details of the video on Friday? That somebody asked what time is the video class?
Well, the video will be released at midnight. And then you can watch it anytime you want to, from now until perpetuity.
For the Edgewater skirt.
Pardon me?
For the Edgewater skirt.
For the Edgewater skirt, right.
I didn't mention that, so I didn't want them to be.
Yeah, the video will be released midnight Friday, but you can watch it at noon the next day or following weekend or whenever.
So the Noto tee that you showed in the pink, is that the same pink knit that's on the wall?
No, I don't think so. It's a little different color, little different pink.
Is the ET designed to sit at the natural shoulder or is it extended?
Pretty much the natural shoulder on the ET.
Can you buy the tutorial separately?
Yes, you can sign up for the class. Now, you're talking about
Oh,
buy the
sorry.
storyboard tutorial?
The storyboard tutorial.
No, not at this time.
Do you have the striped fabric that you made the Valencias out
No,
of?
we do not have the striped fabric.
Do you recommend washing or drying or dry cleaning the French market fabric?
Oh, I think this will wash beautifully. Rayon challis wash very nicely. There's always that tussle for me about, yes, the fabric is washable, but would I throw the garment in the washing machine? Probably not.
The striped fabric, is it linen? The pants fabric?
Yes, the stripe. I think this might be a blend. It's been a while since we had this, but it was linen and something.
How do you line up large fabric images and patterns when you lay out pattern pieces?
Well, how do I line them up? Meaning match the motifs. I wonder if that's what that means.
Probably.
Yeah, so let's say I chose to put this lady at some point on the bottom of the jacket. I would trace where she is on the pattern piece, and I would figure out where the center front is falling, and I would trace the motif along that. Then I would find that same motif someplace else and match up that center front line. It's always center front. It's center front to center front is always the match point.
What is the storyboard tutorial explaining?
The storyboard tutorial is, there's a little bit of what I talked about today, where you find inspiration for color schemes and how to put things together. So it gives you lots and lots of sources of where to go to be inspired for color.
Did you interface the Ikina you're wearing?
I did not interface the Ikina.
And that kind of brings a point. We did have an email this week from a customer about interfacing, and I don't know if people interface more than they possibly need to.
Maybe. I mean, you could, if you want this to have a little more support, you could easily interface this with our ultra sheer interfacing. You could interface half of it or all of it. I think that's a test. You put a piece of interfacing on a scrap, you close your eyes, you feel it, you say, yes, I want that to feel like that down the front or wherever.
And then the question about the pink knit, I guess they're referring to the ET that you're wearing.
Okay.
So can you bring those fabrics out again? And that's a cotton knit?
This is a cotton knit, kind of a tissue weight cotton knit, organic cotton, 58 inches wide. Yeah. You know, cottons don't have the same kind of drape as the viscose knits, but they're really comfortable to wear. But they do, as you can see, kind of hang up on your garments a little bit. The viscose jerseys tend to fall a little bit better, so if that's an issue for you, it isn't for me particularly, but if that's something you need to think about, then this is the viscose linen in blush pink.
Okay, I don't think I see any other. Oh, there's one that just popped up. Oh no, it's a link. Okay, I don't see anything else.
All right. One more thing I want to mention. A couple of weeks ago, I did a Facebook Live featuring the matte crepe fabrics, and we had an overwhelming participation in ordering that fabric. We thank you very much for that. Those fabrics that were on back order just arrived this morning, so we will be filling those back orders. You'll be getting those, and we ordered a little bit of extra yardage as well of the army, the indigo, and the charcoal. Unfortunately, I can't get black for a while. We will get it back in, but it's not available until later in the summer. So you will be getting those orders. All right, so we're ready for...
I just saw
Okay.
a couple more questions. You were mentioning the Threads magazine. What did you think about the top-down, center-out pants fitting?
I read that and shut down about halfway into it.
And then there might be another one here. Just came on. Okay, I think there's still a little confusion. So the tee that is in the pink that's on the rack there, that is not an ET. That is
No, this is the Noto
tee.
tee, as opposed to an ET. A Noto tee does not have a separate sleeve. It has a cut-on sleeve and it's pegged and has a deep hem. The ET has a flared shape and a separate sleeve.
And the Noto, that's the one we do not have the fabric.
Right.
The exact fabric.
Well, we might. I don't think so. I pulled out the pink that I thought was the prettiest with that, but I don't know. I don't think we have this fabric.
I'm new to sewing knits. Can I use a Brothers CS 6000i or are sergers required?
Your Brother machine should be just fine as a sewing machine, and sergers are never required but strongly encouraged.
Okay. All right. Should I show a close-up of the fabric?
Yeah.
So you can get a glimpse of the full scale of this amazing print. Are the grapes navy or purple?
They're a purple blue.
Purple.
They're definitely a purple blue.
There's a lot of purple in there, violet.
Yeah. I think those are eggplants, actually. This one, is that what you're talking about?
Oh, that would make more sense with the scale.
I think these are eggplants, since they're the size of watermelons. Yeah, watermelon, eggplant. Here are grapes in the coral. Or cherries. Those are cherries. Oranges, lettuce, limes, eggs. Not sure. Probably. The signs, of course, that they put up in markets. Her shopping bag full of her fruit. I don't know about you, but I don't wear these kind of shoes to go to market, but
Maybe in France you do.
maybe in France. But they wear headbands in France, so there you go. Headscarves.
All right, there was a couple other questions that popped up
All right.
as we were doing that. How did you finish the inside seams of the Ikina?
We have in the instructions, we talk about sewing the seam, serging it together, the rajas together with a 3-thread stitch formation. But we have a really unique way of doing this opening. So you can see that the hems on the side opening are actually turned again and finished. And then we talk about how to do this connection in the instructions, which is very unique. We've never written this before this garment, I don't believe. Maybe one other pattern has it now, but that is a very nice way to have serge seams here and finished seams here and an opening, and that transition is nice. There's no little clip like we used to have to do and have a raw edge. It's all serged nicely. But that's in the instructions.
Okay.
All right.
Review the sale.
All right, so the sale. We have 3-yard pieces of the French market fabric, and with that you get free thread, free needles, and the 61-page storyboard tutorial for that purchase. All of these fabrics, the knits and the wovens, are on sale. The Ikina 2 pattern, the Gardenia pattern, both of which are download patterns. And I think the ET and the Hudson, I hope I'm right about that. I guess we'll find out. You'll find out. And we also have a tutorial called Loops and Tubes, which is a nice tutorial on several ways to deal with making loops and tubes and the tools that you can use for that. So that's on sale as well. Don't forget about the full skirt experience, the Edgewater Skirt Kit, the Edgewater Skirt and Dress Pattern, and the class, video, tutorial, and information is all one package at $146.99. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
Oh, and Betsy did say that the Hudson and ET are on sale.
Okay.
And that the Ikina is printed and digital.
Okay.
Same with Gardenia. So.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yep.
I can't keep up with what's printed and what's digital these days, obviously. So thank you for the rest of everybody for knowing all that. All right. Well, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me once again.